Hello my friends, it's time to open the veil of mystery again. Today we are going to talk about how to manage your energy. Sit back, we are going to start. Ancient yogis and Buddhist monks have always emphasized the importance of one word, observation. In order to observe something, it is necessary to pay attention to it. When we pay the right attention, we can create the desired quantum event in our lives. In this video, I will explain how you can use your attention to create the reality you want. Learning how to direct your attention is one of the most powerful skills you can master as a co-creator of your reality. Let's understand how our attention dictates the version of reality that manifests. To understand this, you need to realize how energy flows. If you feel stuck in your life or similar situations are constantly repeating themselves, it's important to recognize where the energy is stagnating. When energy can't flow, it becomes stagnant and we experience the same circumstances over and over again. The flow of energy is directed by our attention. Where our attention is directed, that is where the energy flows. Most people don't realize that our attention is of two types, polar and non-polar. Polar attention has the ability to attract and repel reality. Any problem turned the other way to you becomes a solution, two sides of the same coin. Polar attention attracts one thing and repels another. Non-polar attention is completely neutral and can dissolve reality. Now consider what this means in terms of quantum manifestation. We have two types of polar attention, positive and negative. When we think positively about something, life responds to the content of our attention. If we hate something, we will attract more similar events. Similarly, if we love something, we will attract more of it. This is the essence of attention. It shapes our reality based on our attitude and focus. We humans have been forced to operate in fear and survival mode all our lives because it has become our biology. We have been trained to survive first and foremost by eliminating and avoiding any threat. Thus, we have lived in defense mode, avoiding conflict and risk. Many of us have been shaped in such a way that we continue to experience anxiety and stress because of this. Think about what you see on the news and social media. There is more fear there than anything else. It's manipulating and influencing us. A lot of people are proud and willing to go to war to protect what they love. While this is admirable, it often makes them blind to what is really going on. It is easy to get people to perform desired actions when they are angry or afraid. Therefore, society keeps us in states of fear, anger, and pride, keeping our attention on what makes us act unconsciously. Most people continue to experience the same types of attitudes because they hold on to past traumas. Their attention is focused on avoiding the same type of relationship they had before, and so they continue to attract the same type of relationship. People who have been traumatized by an event are afraid they haven't processed it correctly. This is where neutral or non-polarized attention comes into play, which we'll talk more about. It's important to realize that there are two types of attention, positive and negative. Positive attention has to do with the content of our attention and what we pay more attention to. If we live in a reality where our current situation is causing problems, such as at work with a coworker, we may choose to perceive it positively. We will then see this situation as an opportunity for growth, overcome the challenge and become stronger. We will then attract the energy and reality that reflects our positive attitude. However, if we choose to look at the same situation negatively and think, "This is horrible, I can't believe this is happening, it's going to be a disaster and there is no way out," then we will attract energy reflecting that negative mentality. Life doesn't care whether our attention is positive or negative, it responds to its content. If we think a situation will help us grow, our lifeline will shift to a more positive one. We will begin to attract more of what we relate to positively. On the other hand, if we feel negatively about something and think it is bad, something bad will happen. When we feel positive, our mind perceives the content as positive. When we feel negative, our mind perceives the content as negative. Why do we perceive a situation as bad? We just assume it because we are afraid. Fear makes us fear even more. When we feel something, we try to justify the feeling by thinking of other things that might increase that fear. Why do we do this? Because we are creatures that feel, and when we feel something, we feel alive. Negative attention survival is our natural state. When we experience fear, we begin to list every possible thing that could go wrong. This starts a spiral of negative thoughts that eventually affect our attention and perception. The main issue is that there has to be alignment between the heart and the mind. When we feel something negative in our heart, the mind immediately starts generating negative thoughts, which in turn reinforces our fears. This moves us into a negative lifeline where even more negative events occur. However, the crucial point here is non-polar neutral attention. When we perceive something with non-polar neutral attention, the event simply passes by without affecting us. For example, in an unpleasant situation, you can simply accept it as it is without evaluating it either positively or negatively. Then you will continue to move through your life without changing your course, and the situation will simply dissolve. Most people resist the past traumas and fears by giving them negative attention. Think about how this happens. Whenever something unpleasant happens, we try to run away from it because the feelings are very strong and we don't know how to deal with them. When we run away, we actually resist it, and what happens when you resist something? It persists and affects us. We spend our whole lives resisting everything that happened in the past that we don't like. We live from this place of trauma. As a result, situations that validate that trauma continue to arise. Remember, there are always two sides to the coin, and it is up to you to choose how to perceive a situation. Now that you understand this, let's talk about how to use this knowledge to create your desired reality. The first thing we need to do is to combine polar and non-polar attention. This is very important, so pay attention to it. There are 3 basic steps to using it, and if you follow them, all the energy you spend on negative attention will dissipate, leaving you with more energy to create a positive reality. The first step is acceptance. When we are in a difficult situation, we need to accept that it happened. When we accept something, we cannot be in resistance to it. Acceptance is the antidote to resistance. Please try to understand that we do not store energy. The only energy that is used is redirection. To get out of the way of your goals that you really want to manifest, you simply have to get out of the way. We begin by fully accepting the current situation, whatever it may be. Imagine that your worst nightmare has already happened. Fully accept that it happened, and see how life goes on in spite of it. You are no longer worried about your worst nightmare. You are no longer haunted by that fear. This is absolutely fundamental, because most people think that if they accept the worst-case scenario, they will attract it into their life. But conversely, if you accept the worst-case scenario, you will no longer feed it with the energy of resistance. If you continue to resist it, you continue to fuel it by making it more likely. But if you just accept it and get out of the way, the situation dissolves. The second step is to realize how this setback or unfavorable event can be a blessing. Any event that happens is neutral. We make it positive, negative, or neutral depending on our perception. Instead of looking at it as a bad thing, we can consider how it could potentially be an advantage. For example, how could it be beneficial to our lives? Now, what do I mean by a blessing? When something unpleasant happens, we can use it as an opportunity for growth. Any event can be a lesson that helps us become a better person. If we realize this, the negative event stops being negative and becomes neutral or even positive. It is important to learn how to find these blessings in any situation. It takes time and practice, but it is possible. The third step is to redirect attention. After acceptance and realization, we must direct our attention to what we really want. Instead of focusing on fears and negativity, we begin to focus on the positives and opportunities. This creates a new lifeline where positive events become more likely. In this way, we can change our reality and create the life we truly want. It is important to realize that we are the creators of our reality. Our attention and perception play a key role in this process. If we learn to utilize polar and non-polar attention, we can effectively manage our lives and achieve our desired goals. Acceptance, awareness, and redirecting attention are 3 steps that will help us do just that. Disguised blessings. Sometimes something happens to protect us. Maybe there's something bad in this situation that God or the universe doesn't give us. Maybe there's a reason. Have you ever thought about the fact that, like any other event in your life, maybe it's because if you hadn't missed that bus, the bus might have gotten into an accident or something bad could have happened, and the universe is trying to protect you. How do you know it's easier to do that if you've already reached a state of acceptance? If you're in a state where the wound is fresh and something bad has just happened, don't expect yourself to look for blessings in disguise, but just reach a point of acceptance and realize that it really happened. When you reach a more neutral state of mind, you can start to think about how this could potentially be positive. The last step is to continually redirect our attention to what we want. If I'm in a state of complete balance and acceptance, then my attention will be freed up to fully choose what I want. When you become really good at what you do, you will become unstoppable. Nothing can stop you. The process determines which life path you will take, what life path you will take, what quantum event will manifest. what quantum event you will experience in, and it's all connected to your attention. And there's a good reason why many ancient cultures and religions talk about paying attention to something, about observing something, being in observation mode here. We combine both approaches, we use non-polarized attention, and then we move into acceptance. It's not good or bad, we just accept that it happened, and then we start to thinking about the possible blessings in the masking, and finally we come to a positive mode where we are in a state of equality. This process is one of the most powerful tools we can use to create the reality we desire. As a co-creator, attention is your most powerful, and when you learn how to direct it effectively, you'll be able to bring to life the reality that you want. So the message I want to leave you with today, if you're feeling badly about yourself today, allow yourself to accept that you feel bad about yourself, and once you're in a state of equilibrium, then you'll be able to focus on what you want. But if you're trying to hide or suppress what you're feeling, then it's going to come back and haunt you in the future. In this moment, everything that you're doing can be a form of resistance. Even if you're just creating positive affirmations in front of the mirror, you're actually resisting the feeling by saying the affirmation. Here's what can happen in this case. The 3-step method, used consistently, can completely change your life. When you learn to accept redirection and choose what you want, you release the energy that used to be spent on resistance. You use your attention to create the reality that you want. Remember that to accept is not to accept defeat, it's to recognize the reality that exists. It is in this space of acceptance our vision becomes clearer, and the way to get to the point when we accept the worst case scenario, we're releasing the energy that was previously spent fighting it, and then our attention becomes the driving force, for we refocus our attention on what we are, and reality reconfigures itself into as co-creators, creating our co-creators of our own reality. We are endowed with the ability to choose our path, to shape our experiences and determine our destiny. True transformation begins when we decide to direct our attention to what's that really matters in our lives, with confidence and purpose, because you are the architect of your destiny. Thank you for taking this journey with me. If this video resonated with you, I would like to invite you to like and subscribe to our channel and share this video with others so that they can benefit from this message. And don't forget to leave a comment below, share your thoughts, reflections, and experiences. Thank you again for watching and for joining me. Take care and see you soon.